This is about the $1 million peptides gold rush. And as I was reading it, I thought about a friend of mine who recently shared that he is the father of a teenage boy or two. He found some peptides in the refrigerator in the basement.
Well, safe storage at least.
Safe storage, but not necessarily safe injection.
Yes.
Or safe part of the world or place that these came from. And that's really at the heart of the story. First of all, if people aren't familiar with peptides, Madison, start us out. What are they?
Ooh, that's a good question. One of the things is that most people actually don't know what they are, don't know how to explain them, even if they think that they do. And a lot of people are injecting these things, don't really know what they are. But peptides are essentially, I mean, if you think about it, insulin's a peptide, GLP-1s are a peptide. There are a lot of legal drugs out there that are peptides, common drugs. But when we're talking about peptides, so putting it in this sort of context, we're talking about black market peptides, the ones that are not approved drugs that don't really have the rigorous safety
These were the ones in the
backing.
fridge of the teenage boy.
Yes.
Okay,
exactly.
This doesn't sound good. What exactly are black market peptides? Amanda?
Well, they are... they start off as like little glass vials of powder that are imported from overseas, usually from Chinese manufacturers, which it should be noted also produce a lot of the active pharmaceutical ingredients and perfectly legal, perfectly safe drugs. They're imported from overseas, little glass vials of powder. They're reconstituted with a special type of sterile liquid so that they can then be drawn up into a syringe and injected. And so once they're reconstituted, they have to be kept cold in order to be kept safe. So that's why they're in the fridge.
Why do people want them?
A whole host of reasons.
For everything.
For everything, basically.
To sleep, to tan, to...
One thing that may inform the question is Carol's not on Instagram.
No.
Maybe she doesn't see the same things I do.
Well, tell us about, like, what is going on?
Well, people are looking for... a magic pill. Like, as always, from the beginning of humanity, people have been looking for substances that can solve various problems. People are hopeful because GLP-1 drugs are so effective at helping people lose weight.
And work.
They work.
Right?
They work. They're safe. They're effective. They've been used in large, patient populations. So once those got popular, people started looking for other peptides to do other things in their bodies.
Well, Madison, you cover the mostly the regulated pharmaceutical industry as a healthcare reporter. Do the black market peptides work? Does the stuff that is sold as part of, a filler treatment at a med spa in Brooklyn, or the stuff that a celebrity talks about as a secret?
He seems to know a lot about this, doesn't
It's all
he?
in the story.
I know. Just kidding.
Do they work? Like, is there the evidence to back it up?
That is the key question. Because the thing is, like, if you ask someone, and we asked many people in the course of reporting this story, several of whom are in the story, they do work. They're life-changing. But the evidence and the safety data and the effectiveness data is not there to back it up. So it's hard to know and it's hard to tease out. I mean, one of the people that we talked to in the story is on tirzepatide, which is the active ingredient in Lilly's drugs. They're also on multiple other things. And so it's hard to know whether the effects that they're experiencing, the anti-inflammatory effects, the weight loss, all of the things are because of Lilly's drug, which we know does work, or the other things that they're on. And, sometimes when people start taking these peptides, they might also start working out more or start eating healthier or doing other things. And it's just a bit hard to know what's actually happening.
So the FDA is all over this, right?
Well, all over it is a little generous.
There was a little sarcasm. There was a little sarcasm there.
Yeah, I mean, they're all over it in certain ways.
Well, tell us, where are they on this? Because it's obviously people are interested, people are consuming them, right? And so where are they?
Yeah, well, I think perhaps we haven't said this yet, but these drugs are like illegal to sell, illegal to prescribe. They are black market substances. They are not approved for legal sale in the United States. And the ones that are approved for legal sale, if you're getting them in vials of powder, you're getting an illegal version of them that's being sold outside of patent. So
it wouldn't be the first time that somebody consumes an illegal substance, right?
Yeah, illegal drugs are something, you have a long and storied history in this country.
Okay, but what's worrisome though, right? And where is the government on this?
Right. So RFK Jr. has said he's a peptide fan first and foremost, and has said that because there is this overwhelming,
hold on, but that's such a hold on. I just want to stop you there because that's contradictory in some way. Because a lot of his supporters, Madison, you've been on our program talking about this. A lot of the Make America Healthy Again people are sort of anti-GLP-1, which you helpfully shared with us at the beginning, is a peptide. So is there some sort of contradiction there? They're
being sort of caught in a bit of a corner that they've backed themselves into, I would say. Because there is, the way I would think about it is that, like, it's not an incoherent position toward science or scientific proof or towards these drugs, but it's a coherent position in regards to like an attitude toward authority. So getting these things outside of normal medical guidelines, outside of normal chains of expertise, outside of a doctor's office in most cases, is like a really an effective pitch for the Maha crowd for a lot of different things, because it enables a person to feel like they are taking control of their health and not listening to what the government or big pharma says. So the existence of these peptide supply chains, like outside of regulatory control, is like very enticing to the whole like Maha mindset, I would say. So RFK Jr. has said that he is a fan of peptides, and he has instructed the FDA's regulatory committee on compounded pharmaceuticals to look into allowing some of these drugs to be made by compounding pharmacies, which wouldn't approve them for like regular pharmacy sale in like your local CVS, but it would make them available through like sterile facilities in the U.S.
Well, isn't that going to tick off Peter Magic?
Or it will bring in more business.
Tell us about him, because that's kind of the character that kicks off your story.
Do you want to go into it?
Sure. So
he drives a fast car.
Yes, that's all you need to know.
Peter Magic is a chemist with a lab outside of Prague.
Is Magic his real name?
Yes, as far as we can tell. As far as we can tell.
Keep going.
He owns a testing lab outside of Prague that has sort of become like a central node in the trade of black market peptides across the world, because he started his business to test black market anabolic steroids, and peptides first gained like sort of a foothold through some of the same users, like fitness hobbyists, biohackers, people who are interested in perfecting their own form. So he realized there was an opportunity to purity and sterility test these substances, because like users of anabolic steroids, people want them and they want them outside of legal means, but they still don't want to like die because they injected something.
So
note to self, right?
So Madison, does that mean they're safe?
Still not necessarily. I mean, the thing that he can test these substances, he can say that they are what they purport to be. But a lot of these people, like the practices of injecting yourself with the medication, like some people aren't changing the syringe, or they're not, cleaning properly. And like there can still be things in these drugs that are not necessarily safe. And like the practice of how people are actually taking and consuming these medicines, like there's just no oversight. So any number of things can happen, and that's sort of the problem. I mean, there can be medication interactions. You can be one of the things is with some of these peptides, you need to take blood tests. You need to cycle on and off of them so you're not essentially like poisoning yourself. And not everyone knows that. So it's like all of these things that in, with normal drugs and in a normal setting would have some type of doctor involved or some type of oversight are just not happening.
What does the medical community say? What do doctors say?
Well, there are some doctors who are also fans of them, and like we talked to some of them in this story, and those doctors are more comfortable, I would say, with the risks or aware of the risks, but they think that some of the benefits might outweigh the risks, and so it's definitely challenging.
Amanda, do we get to a point where in a couple of years this is just going to look so quaint because these have made their way through a formal approval process, and we'll be able to buy legitimate peptides at CVS?
Probably not. The FDA's process for approving drugs like this for regular commercial sale is pretty specific in the kinds of proof that it requires. And in order to, this is the same reason why it's been until last week, it was years and years since we had gotten a new sunscreen filter approved, even though there's lots of effective ones being used in Europe and Asia for decades. The FDA requires like somebody to invest in a lot of very expensive, lengthy clinical trials in order to create the sort of safety and efficacy data that it requires in order for these drugs to be sold commercially. So because these drugs exist outside of like the normal patent process that would normally allow a single company to profit off of them exclusively for a period of time after their approval, no single company is really incentivized to go through the effort of getting these drugs, tested and approved in the way that they normally would be, because once they're approved, then and all of their competitors can make them and sell them as well. So the FDA, at least under RFK, seems intent on, sort of making an end run around that type of legalization. Or at least that's the issue that they're going to take up in a few weeks.
We only have about 50 seconds left here. I'm just like, in reporting this out, because there are people, as you say, it's all over social, and people are looking at this and thinking, should I take this? What's a quick thought to them, Madison? Or what did you learn in kind of doing this?
I mean, I think that it will be really important for people to tune into this FDA meeting that's happening in July, where they will literally be reviewing the evidence and the data around these things. There are independent experts on this committee that will be talking about that.
Yeah.
And most of the people that we talk to say there really isn't any evidence or human data on this. So I think hopefully that will make people aware of the situation more.
15 seconds for you, Amanda.
Well, I think
Real quick.
Many of their proponents agree that there's not any data, but they think that they should be able to give it a shot if they want to.